can all say that Nintendo Switch Online Plus Expansion Pack is a really good service. You have everything up to the 6th generation of console, but where is the 7th generation of console? Now the Nintendo Wii. How exactly would this work? The Nintendo Wii definitely is an amazing platform, and with the goofy controls, there's so many ways that you can look at it. But looking at it indeed, Super Mario Galaxy 1 Plus 2 is definitely a very awesome game, and it honestly worked really well on the Nintendo Switch 2. May you be playing on the handheld mode or be playing on a TV with split Joy-Cons or using a Pro Controller. This worked really well, and the Nintendo Wii should be no issue at all. Now, of course, there are some games that might be a little goofy and things to play around with, but of course, that's not every game. Like games in particular that would work really well is Mario Kart Wii, and seeing the return of that game would be awesome because not only in Mario Kart Wii were you able to use motion controls, but you were also able to use a nunchuck. So the nunchuck would essentially act as your control stick. So overall, all of these things would be amazing. And we also got another remaster of a Wii game that worked really well. Kirby's Return to Dreamland. Now, of course, this was a remaster, not really a port, but this just shows that not every single Wii game is destined to fail and be locked away on the Nintendo Wii. There are so many options when you take a look at Wii games, like The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD. That is another Wii game that honestly worked really well. Now, of course, Nintendo went in to replace some of the controls, but overall, it still worked really well. And how exactly would all of these things work, and when could we be seeing the Nintendo Wii? Now, usually, Nintendo will release some sort of controller or something to say, hey, you can play your Nintendo Switch Online with this controller. Like example, the Nintendo GameCube controller, the Super Nintendo controller. All of these controllers were making their way so you can buy them if you own that subscription. But the Nintendo Wii Remote would be really interesting. Honestly, I think that it would be pretty cool to finally see the return of a Wii Remote, because I honestly think that Wii Remotes were really cool. You would probably see a Wii Remote and a nunchuck for Nintendo Switch Online, but overall, this would be great. It wouldn't only work for this game as well, because hey, you can do the boogie with Just Dance and your Wii Remote, just like back in the day. That would be really cool. You could also probably play Mario Party if you wanted to with that. And speaking of Mario Party, that would probably be another awesome game to make its return to the Nintendo Switch 2. And when would this be coming? I'm thinking probably 2027. Now we know that Nintendo is very slow at releasing games. We haven't even seen half of the games that they've promised us from the Nintendo Direct all the way back in April. So where are all these beautiful Nintendo GameCube games, Nintendo? Now, that's not all, but we're probably could see even more awesome games. 2027 is the 35th anniversary of Kirby after all, so maybe we can be getting Kirby's Dream Collection, the special edition that was locked away on the Wii. Honestly, that collection was really awesome, and I hope to see a return because that would be great. And remember Poke Park? Maybe we can be seeing something like that, or Paper Mario, or any of these games. Mario Party 8, hey, why not? All of these games on the Nintendo Wii were honestly really awesome. They were hidden gems, or they were gems as a whole, because a lot of these games are now stuck on the Wii, nowhere to be seen again. Like, where in the world is Super Mario Brothers Wii? Now these are gems. These are games that we need to see. We, of course, got Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2, but nowhere to be seen is New Super Mario Bros. We're not even going to be seeing the DS one. Now, in terms of the DS, is that going to be the future Nintendo Switch Online? Because of course, this came out before the Wii, so just maybe could we be seeing that as well? Now, the Nintendo DS is definitely in a more interesting situation. Now, I'm not saying that it wouldn't work. I think that it definitely would be able to work. Either we get a second screen, where we've already seen videos of a concept art that works really well. Being able to flip the Nintendo Switch 2 upside down and then put a second screen. We already know that works, because if you bothered to take your Nintendo Switch 2 and flip the controllers upside down, you know that you can technically play games like that. Now, right now, there isn't really any games that support that feature, but it still is there. So why don't we just put in a second screen and there you go. That would work really well. But Another way to play Nintendo DS games is by just using a different format. So you would have the big main gameplay on the big screen, and then you would have a tiny little corner. In the little corner, you would have the touchpad and all of those controls. Now you could either do the Nintendo Switch 2, use the mouse controls, or something to use the Wii remote and then play like that. That could work very, very well. Or you can just have an extra button that opens up a little menu and you can switch back and forth. This would work great. And of course, in handheld mode, just tap the screen. It works really, really well. So Nintendo DS isn't too far off to say that we could be seeing something like that in the future. But focusing more on Nintendo Wii, I think that that will be the next one. And then maybe later, if Nintendo wants to do a second screen, they'll do a second screen, because the patent that they released a few weeks back honestly works really, really well with the idea of the Nintendo Switch 2. And so many games would work so well on the Nintendo Switch 2. Because all of these games are amazing party games. The Nintendo Wii was known for party games. Could we finally see the return of the greatest sports game of all time? Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort. Now, these two games were so good. And maybe could we even be seeing Wii Party, where, I spent so many hours learning to play pool with my little Wii remote and my little skewer and just trying to poke the ball. It works so great. All of these things, all of these features worked amazing. And it's kind of sad that we don't have something like this anymore. We don't even see the Mario Party games for the GameCube. What in the world, Nintendo? It would have been perfect. We could even see Luigi's Mansion in October because it's Halloween season. Where's Luigi's Mansion? It would have made more sense, but instead you announce something that's completely separate from the Nintendo GameCube. We still have about 2 weeks left, I would say, so maybe Nintendo is hiding something big. Maybe we will be seeing Luigi's Mansion, and maybe in November we might see Kirby Air Ride, because I have a feeling that that's a little bit unlikely, because usually Nintendo, either it's a prequel or a sequel, we don't necessarily see the same game on the Nintendo Switch Online and then having the physical version, because if that was the case, we would have seen Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door. Maybe we've been seeing even more games, but anyways, Nintendo is definitely a very interesting company. They do a lot of weird things, and releasing games definitely isn't their strong suit. So maybe the Nintendo Wii is coming, or maybe Nintendo's going to leave it at the GameCube, which I don't think it's true, but you still got to acknowledge that something like this could happen, that Nintendo is the end of Nintendo as a whole, because they don't want to release the Nintendo Wii or the Nintendo DS, the 3DS, the Wii U, and then we have them all if they want to do something like that. And eventually, in 10 years time, maybe the Nintendo Switch is going to make its way to the Nintendo Switch 2, or by then the Nintendo Switch 3. Overall, all these things are awesome, and hopefully we can see Skylanders return. I would love to see that on the Nintendo Wii, because hey, that game would be cool. Can we see it return? Of course, you would need to get some sort of power portal. Actually, no, you wouldn't. You have an MC reader on your Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons. That would work very, very well. Okay, so now that we talked about all of that, if we are going to be seeing Nintendo Wii or Nintendo DS, what about a thing that should be a feature for the longest time, like the expansion pack? We used to get expansion packs for games, but we haven't really seen any expansion pack for games for how long has it been? I would say about 3 years since the last expansion pack. So what in the world is going on here, Nintendo? Maybe could we be seeing some more expansion pack, like Donkey Kong Bonanza's expansion pack, or whenever this comes out, Mario Kart World's expansion pack as well? That would be really, really awesome. But anyways, what do you think about all this? Do you think that we should be seeing the Nintendo Wii sometime soon? Or do you think Nintendo is done with all of this goofy nonsense? Are they going to be releasing expansion packs for games? Or are they going to just leave it at the ones that we have? They're going to be saying, you know what? We gave you enough. So hey, you say you come and give us your dollary dues. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a fantastic day, and see you in the next one.